All right. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to touch base and get you guys set up for the week for success. So at this point, I have been noticing most of you have been moving along pretty fantastically in the assignments, getting things done on time. I'm noticing that overall, across all of the sections, the assignments scoring tend to be doing relatively great. Hopefully most of you have noticed that as of last week, I did go back in and review the chapter 2 reading quiz. And I noticed that there was some concerns and issues with being able to match appropriately, to being able to fill in the blanks appropriately. So hopefully by now you realize that if you saw an adjustment to your score, it was a positive one, because for majority of those questions, I just simply dropped them and I gave you the points back. That doesn't mean that everybody got a 10, but most of you should have seen a pretty significant increase in your points for the chapter 2 reading quiz. Scanning out the rest of the assignments, SmartBook, homework, all of those things. Like I said, overall, I'm not seeing anything crazy coming up aside from that one reading quiz that's telling me that we aren't understanding material or that we're having any major challenges with some of the material. So far, I'm feeling pretty confident with how you guys are progressing and moving along. So where does that take us right now? You are in the 4th week, right? Well, actually the 5th week. And you are coming up to your first exam. Your first exam is going to be covering chapters 1 through 4. So what does this mean? I want to make sure that we are appropriately preparing for this, that we're thinking through strategies of studying for this, because really, right, even though the due date is going to be on Sunday, I'm going to give some background information about preparedness for it, and that the exam itself will not just only open on Sunday. The intention of this course is, of course, for those that are, potentially not on campus, maybe have jobs. So the exam itself will actually open on Wednesday for people to be able to take it early if they would like. But again, remember, you're still finishing chapter 4's material, right? You'll still have your SmartBook and your homework due this coming Friday. You'll still have your quiz and your lab due on Saturday. And then you'll see that the exam will be due on Sunday by 11:59. It will close out completely by 11:59. So make sure that you are setting yourself up for success there. But for those students that want to get a head start on it, maybe they work over the weekend. Again, the exam will open on Wednesday, but you will only have one chance to take it. So please make sure you're being aware that when you sit down to take the exam, it's not I'm just going to peek at it, right? And then I'll close it back out and come back to it. That's not the way a face-to-face exam would work. So there's no peeking to kind of come back in to take it at a later time. So make sure you are setting yourself up to sit down and complete the exam in one fell swoop. So with that being said, I wanted to share just a couple of things here. And that is that right now you aren't going to see this posted yet, but I wanted to make sure I gave the video before I posted this for you. I have put together a very high level study guide. Please note, this does not mean this is the only things you are liable for knowing for the exam, right? You should be reading the chapters. You should be navigating through some of those homework, those case studies that's looking at some of the data, some of the graphs, some of the explorers or policies that are going on inside of the chapter. Then you've got the SmartBook that's helping to support, am I getting the basic underlying information, right? And you can go back in and recharge those. And I'll show you that in just a second. Finally, you have the quizzes, right? The quizzes are taking some of those concepts that for sure you will be or could be potentially tested upon inside of your exam. And you're getting to practice what it would be like to be in a testing environment by having a quiz, right? That it's a one-time shot. Once it closes, it's closed, right? It's setting yourself setting you up for this idea of being prepared to take the full exam. So when I do publish this, again, I'm going to make sure to just note that for those that may come to me thereafter and say, I studied your study guide and it didn't match anything I did in the exam. Again, I'm going to ask you, how often were we reading? How often did you go back and review? Did you go back to, right, my timeline here that I have posted for you? Regarding how to, oops, where is it at? Suggested schedule to follow for week over week for class, right? So these things are available to you, and they're all there as metrics and tools and resources, including me, right? And I know for most students, we have to take the first exam to kind of see, do I know what I'm doing as far as studying? Am I preparing the right way? And that is for both face-to-face and online classes. Sometimes you just have to go through the first exam to see, okay, I have to admit to myself, how best did I prepare for this? And two, if you think you followed everything that you needed to do here, then now, of course, now it's time, we need to plan some time. Let's meet virtually. Let's go through the exam together. Let's talk about kind of our approach, what our study tactics were, all of those things. So all of this to say, there's lots of things here I want to see you successful. Hopefully you've went back to this, you've reviewed this. I'm going to post this in the announcements. Go back and just review this. Remember, I've got a schedule for non-week of exams, and I've got a suggested schedule for the exam week itself. So we're in the exam week. This should be, right, theoretically, from what I have heard from students in the past, how best to kind of move through the material. But remember, we always have to reference, what did my students in the past tell me about as far as how to be successful and get the grade I want, right? You have to read the book. I know this seems counterintuitive, but again, because this is the course version of modality, meaning it is purely at your pace to complete this, there's a reason you chose this, right? You chose it because, again, maybe you're on base somewhere, maybe you're deployed somewhere, maybe you're in another state, taking a job somewhere. Maybe you just couldn't find the time to do the lab component in the face-to-face aspect of the course. So because of that selection, right, you're now self-selecting into a course that is now setting up for you to sort of be on your own pace of learning style, right? We're face-to-face in class, I can give you a lecture. I can present to you this information. So for you to meet these standards, for you to meet these expectations and know, yep, you've passed this core curriculum course as you're moving through towards your degree, right, in graduation. This is really a course that's designed to be checkbox of items, but me in the background helping to support you with all of these resources to make sure that you can be successful in getting the grade that you want. So again, review this. If you want to set a time and you're not happy with your exam grade, this is kind of the first place I would say, let's go back and review. Is this how we're approaching the week to study, of the chapter's material? And then again, going back into what is this, so-called schedule. You don't have to follow this, but have you set up a schedule? And maybe that may be the answer. Maybe we come home with the, actually, I do need to set up some time. I have to set 2 to 4. I'm going to work on environmental science. That is only something, unfortunately, you are going to learn in time as you're moving through the course. All that to be said, again, I will make sure to not only post this video for your availability to see, but again, to know that you have all of these resources. You have the PowerPoint. We're going to go to the book in just a second here. We can go back in, right? I have up here underneath all things McGraw-Hill, right? How do I, complete assignments? How do I recharge? How do I navigate? How do I set up things like the exam, making sure I have the correct requirements to be able to take the exam? I probably should look at that before I even get close to taking the exam, because you're going to need to have proctoring interface. Because again, this is an online class. I've got to have certain metrics that would be applicable to all students taking any version of environmental science. These are not my rules, these are university rules. So just, again, keep these things in mind. So you have your resources here, you have the book. We're going to go to the platform in just a minute. But again, when I do make this, available, really what the biggest thing here is, this is just another resource. This is not covering every single detailed piece of information that you could be tested on. That is why the 10 pages or so of the chapter, reading that is the information. That is where we're liable to being tested upon. And anything in those pages, case studies, definitions, graphs, pictures, charts, policies, years, percentages, all of that is liable information to be presented as a possibility on the exam, right? And you've been getting good experience with this because you've gotten lots of different assignments to sort of approach this. So with that being said, again, this is here, this is for you. I'm trying this for the first time this semester, just to get feedback from you guys at the end of the course to see, did this work? Did you like this as a tool? I'm always trying to modify, sorry, I was about to sneeze, resources that you guys need and have available in this kind of unique learning modality. So let's go to, the physical McGraw-Hill Connect. Again, this is for all platforms. So if you see that I'm not in 074, it's the same for 071 and 072. So I'm going to switch into my student view mode here. And again, underneath, I've made the chapters, I've made the lab assignments, and now scrolling down after I deploy it and make it publishable, you will see that there is a folder now that will have your exam in there ready to go. And you'll see that it will open, on September 18th. So again, it will be ready to go for you, okay? But if I look back to my previous chapters, I can click on some of these things, especially as it relates to the SmartBook. It's seeing me as a student that hasn't taken this yet, so it's classifying it as being late because I haven't taken it. But for those that have completed it, you'll see the opportunity to recharge this. So you can go back in and you're going to see all the same questions you got in the SmartBook, but maybe it's just another way for you to refresh your brain about the learning material, It's not the only thing that you should be using. Because again, I've had students come back and be very, very upset with me that the exam didn't match the SmartBook assignment, or it didn't match the homework assignment, or it didn't match. These are just resources of different ways to give you different types of information about that chapter. So again, your best resource in being successful is right here. It's going to be the book, so that is really it. I just wanted to take a quick moment to get this video out to make sure it's available for you guys at the start of the week rather than waiting any other further time, because again, we need to start preparing for the first exam. And again, it will open on Wednesday, but it is a one-time deal. If you open it, navigate away from it, open other, tabs as resource, click on an outside resource, it will close the exam for you, and that's the grade that you're going to get. So make sure that you are ready to go when it is time to take this. As always, you have Tuesday and Thursday to meet with me. If you have any questions at all about any of the material in this video or in the course leading up to the exam, please schedule some time with me. Let's go through it. Let's talk about it. When is not the time to try and talk to me, 11 o'clock at night on Sunday when the exam is coming due in 59 minutes. That's not going to be the time we're going to meet. I will be sure to make sure to give you guys feedback, and what you'll see is at the end of the exam, it'll give you a breakdown of questions you missed and detailed feedback as to why you missed those questions. So again, that will come after you fully submit. Now, the thing again is, oh, I'll just close out, tell her something was wrong, and then she'll reopen it after I see all the answers. That will, you know, on my end, I can see how far you've gotten in the exam. So again, let's just set ourselves up for success on the front side. And let's make sure that we complete the exam, got all the resources, we've got tools, and we are ready to go. So I beat that horse. You guys are doing great. I'm very happy, very pleased with your guys' success. And again, if there's any questions or concerns, please let me know. All right, have a great week. Best of luck to studying. I will keep reminding you guys as we go through the week. But again, we need to be making sure we're preparing for exam 1 due this weekend on Sunday by 11:59. Okay, have a great week, everybody.